So I've helped some 43 students with cover letters over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. And I'm kind of come to the conclusion that while I don't recommend a template and that the templates that are currently available are not good, they are, and I've already kind of put in my criticism as to the one template, but there's another one that's just like it. They are general. They are very self-serving, and in some ways they're very insulting. So what I did was I created my own. I don't have much voice, a little bit under the weather, but I'm going to go through what I created, which is a template not meant to copy, but meant to educate and show you how this works. I'll put it on memorizingpharmacology.com / residency help. And I'm just going to go through all of the things that I've kind of seen, and not calling anyone out or anything like that, but rather I just want you to get this right, because in many ways they're also looking at the quality of your writing, and it has to look like what it's supposed to. So I'm going to go over some things that I also know about just because I was a doctoral student in rhetoric and professional communication. So let's start with the heading. Some people do this. They put it in the header. So if you go into Microsoft Word, the header is separate from this. The only issue with this is if you go over one page, this is what's going to happen. So there's the header, name, address, where I'm at, and my email. You could probably put your phone there too. If I go down one, the header remains. So it's a good solution if you're just doing one page. But if you switch to, I'm sorry, 12-point font. So right now I have Calibri body 11. And watch what happens when I go to 12 point. So now it's gone into the second, and it's kind of unnecessary. So a couple of things about the font itself. So let's go back to 11. So we have our nice clean one-page letter, which is what I recommend. I need to select all. Okay, so Calibri 11. So first of all, I chose a font that does not have serifs, because this is meant to be read on some kind of digital device. Okay, so it's very good if it's on digital. If you're going to have somebody that's going to read on paper, then you would go to Times New Roman, which is kind of the classic, and you can see these little serifs. So like here you can see these little edges, and it's a lot easier to read, but it's a lot harder to read online. So the ASHP recommendation to do 12-point font Times New Roman, I think, is archaic, in that you probably want to put in a font, select all, a font that's ready to be read online, because I believe that's how people are going to read them. I don't think it'll be terrible either way, but just to make you aware. 12-point versus 11, I have trouble seeing, so I would prefer 12-point font, but many of you are trying to write quite a bit, and you're finding that a way around that, or a workaround, is the 11. The best way I've seen to put the date is here. It doesn't necessarily look good that you put this date, December 31st, 2018, the very last minute that you're supposed to, put in the recommended. It honestly looks probably better if you put in like the 14th or 15th or something like that, to show that ahead of the holidays you actually thought about this, and you did this, or maybe even November, I don't know, but that you've been thinking about this a while, rather than, hey, I just got this done. If it was a piece of paper, it would be warm off the printer. Here's what I'm seeing for the addressee. So I just put this name, better for the first name, spell it right for the last, because you better spell it right, because your residency letter ends right here if you spell this wrong. And then I put MBA PharmD. Be careful of doing this. Doctor, better spell it right. MBA, PharmD. You've just called them doctor. Even if that is right, like somebody's like PharmD, PhD, so P, capital P, little h, oh, come on, D. Okay. I don't think they're going to knock you if you do this. So there's different styles, and there's Chicago and other ways. So this has no periods, and this, I believe, is now favored by one of those styles. But you can do that, but be consistent. Don't do MBA, Pharm, period, D, period, comma, PhD, because it would make more sense that you did M, period, B, period, A, period, like that. So at least you're consistent. Okay. I'm going to just use regular expressions, or just use the replace the period with nothing. So replace all there. No, not the rest of the document. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out the periods. Residency director, give them their title, whatever that title is. I put Potomac River Hospital Center. This is a fictional thing. I grew up in North Potomac, which is just Darnestown, but they changed the name to up the property value. 900 River Road does not exist. River Road does. It's beautiful. And then Potomac, Maryland, 20854. That's a real address. So what we've done is we've put our own information. We've put the date, and then we've put to whom we're going to send it. Dear Doctor, spell it right. So again, double check that spelling, make sure that's right, because that could be a really bad one. You don't want to put ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to put dear residency director. With so many residency applications, you need to know who you're writing to or who's the head of the program. And I don't think that's terribly difficult with forecasts. Okay, we are going back to Comp 2. Some of you didn't have Comp 2 because there are colleges of pharmacy that only require Comp 1. They are so heavy in anatomy, physiology, chemistry, biology, all of that stuff, that they removed it. And I don't know if you'd necessarily remember this anyway, but this is what you should be doing generally. You'll notice that I didn't put in whatever that beginning is. Hi, my name is Tony, and I'm from blank College of Pharmacy, and I am applying to blank residency. It was so good to meet you guys at ASHP National. Name drop this name drop that name. I just want to let you know that your residency is such a perfect fit for what I want. Okay, there's an ACCP one. There's a one that's out by UCSF. I found 3 more that are all like that. So they actually plagiarize each other, which it's kind of funny, but it's not. This is what you want to get across. You have a thesis. You are making a claim. Over the last 4 years, I have developed and for all that is right in this world, please do not put the numbers in there. I'm simply putting the numbers in there. I'm going to highlight them to make it even more clear that you should not put the numbers in there. What I'm saying is that your letter should be so clear from your thesis statement. You are making a thesis statement that I have developed clinical skills, community service, leadership, research, and teaching. You want to pick, I'm really sick, the 2 or 3 of these that are best, okay? So if you are just been research intensive and you've been doing stuff since, I just met a P1 that's been doing research since they were at Drake, that's been doing research since her 2nd year in college. Like if she has that, going in, then research would be her first one. I just put these in order alphabetically. So clinical skills, community service, leadership, research, teaching, okay, to give you a framework. but you put the one that, one, you care about the most, but two is a big deal at where your site is. If this is a hospital center, research might not be their jam. Their jam might be, hey, what are you doing with clinical skills? 20854, there's not a ton of community service that needs to be done in this kind of golf course, $6 million home River Road area. So it would really be, okay, well, I see that they are definitely clinically minded. They don't have an affiliation with College of Pharmacy, so teaching might not be their big jam, but maybe leadership is a big part. Anyway, you're going to take 2 or 3 of these. Don't put all 5. But what you do want to do is when you're writing your very first one to put all 5. And I'll tell you why. I took the GRE and I crushed it. And when I say I crushed it, I mean I got a 98 out of 99 on the English, but I also got an 87 on math. I'm basically scored in the top 5,000 out of the million people that take it, because I also got a 5 on the writing. And what I did in the writing was, it's kind of weird that your typing speed actually matters, but what I did in the writing was they ask you to take a statement and make an argument for or against it. And I put my 4 best paragraphs and I took the worst out. You're going to put your 5 in, and as I go through this with the evidence and talk about it, then as you read it or as other people read it, they're going to be like, yeah, your heart's not really in that whole community service thing. It seems like you just kind of did it as an afterthought, or you only have one experience or something like that. But wow, you did national leadership, or wow, you've been teaching and mentoring for 3 years. And it's also reflective. You're going to be like, okay, well, this is what is really important to me, and I'm kind of discovering this. A template like this is meant for you to discover the answer to your thesis. What is your thesis? What is your claim? Obviously, as somebody who's been teaching for 10 years, teaching would be the very top of it. Okay. Clinical skills would be completely absent from mine at this point in my career. Okay. So you're saying I have developed these skills, and now I hope to continue my development. Okay, you're not saying you guys are a great fit because you have these things I want. You're just saying I just want to continue to grow. And I keep seeing this, which is if you are putting the entire residency program, it is capitalized because it is a proper noun. The Potomac River College. Let me change this. The Potomac River Hospital Center. Hospital Center. Goodness gracious. Hospital Center. PGY1 residency program is a proper noun. Capitalize if it's a proper noun. If you're just saying PGY1 residency program, you capitalize PGY and 1 and residency program. I've seen it as PGY1 without the hyphen and with the hyphen. Just be consistent. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to care. Okay. So my first sentence is my claim and my thesis. I've developed these skills. My second is my intent. I hope to continue my development. Let me actually make them different sentences so you can better see it. Number 2, sentence 2, I hope to continue my development at your site. And sentence 3, I'm going to detail the most impactful experiences. And I said, I will briefly detail. That will be like warm rain on somebody. It will feel so good to hear briefly or succinctly or, don't put quickly, but that you're going to be mindful of their time, of the most impactful experiences. Already they know you're not going to put fluff in it. You're going to go to most impactful experiences in the hopes that we might find if we're a good fit for each other. What you're really saying is, I think that we're a good fit for each other. I want to date you. I want you to go to prom with me. I don't know if you want to go to prom with me. So here's what I think. Here's why I think we should go to prom together. Okay? And that your site might be a place where I can serve. It is about serving them. It is not about them serving your short-term, long-term goals. I've even seen, and this is the heartbreaker, where the goals of the person in the letter are identical to the goals word for word in the templates, where I see, and maybe it's true, but that just absolutely kills me. It is about service to a patient and how you're going to use these 5 skills to do it. Okay. Unless you're doing residency in, like, I don't know, something weird where it's not necessarily patient-centered. The second part is evidence. All of those examples, those those examples that they have on the internet from these sites are giving you terrible, terrible advice. They are saying, in my CV, as you can see, whoa. The way that somebody looks at your application is they have a rubric and they use the CV to check the boxes off to see if they should even read this. Once that's done and they know that you've got such and such GPA, then they're like, all right, well, let me get to know this person. I know that it sounds like cover letter CV, and maybe it's in that order in forecast, but really it's, let me get through all these CVs because there might be some people that are not even qualified. Then I'm going to send these letters out to people that I want them to read it. And then we can see if the evidence backs the thesis. So your thesis is that, hey, I've developed my such and such, and I should probably put at a very high level. I don't think you have to put this in there, but that should be your aim. Okay? That you have done this at a high level, and we're going to see if that's true. Now, how do you present evidence? You present it first with the story, the beginning of the story, the beginning of what you want to say. Clinically, I've worked side by side with. I've had a patient experience that was particularly meaningful to me. The reason that you use one patient, one experience, is that when goes all the way back to your Psych 101 if you took that class. If people are asking for money, they will make a case about a single person because you can digest a single person. It's really tough to digest. I helped 1,000 people. The person who writes a better story about one person over the person that writes a worse story about or just generically says 1,000 people is actually going to have a more impactful letter. Okay. So it was particularly meaningful to me because I am interested in, okay, I don't know, what are you interested in? For me, I'm interested in the etymology of drug names and medication errors, which is not necessarily clinical, but it's clinically impactful. Okay. A second impactful experience was I struggled with this difficulty. So have an arc, have a conflict, have a success story, and overcoming, I learned what? I'm particularly, and this is the key, now we say, I picked your site because I'm particularly interested in your elective, which matches my experience, which matches what I'm trying to do with my life, because it's going to allow me to further grow in blank specialty. So you have written a story. You have said how you have impacted other people and how it's important to you, and then you have said this is how it matches your site. 1, 2, 3. Number 2, again, don't put these numbers. I'll put them in yellow to make clear that you are not supposed to put these numbers. I don't even know if I should give you the template. But 2, community service matches with part 2 of my thesis, goes to part 2 here. I value service to my community. As someone who came from, for me, it would be a bilingual background, first-generation college student background. I'm particularly interested in helping people that are just getting in college for the very first time, whose parents may not be able to help them financially, may not be able to help them, guide them because they've not been to college. That's what matters to me. That's why I work at a community college. We have, our average student is 25. Our average student might have a kid, might have a job. Okay. So my first opportunity to serve was, maybe it was as part of an organization, but then later you grew from that and said, hey, you know what? I enjoyed helping in this, 5K fundraiser we had. And 2 years later, I was leading it. And I was getting the permits from the city, and I was coordinating police officers and all of this. Okay. Then I know that in your residency or that your residents also serve as volunteers. It might not be the exact same thing, but you know that there's volunteer service there. Number 3, okay, I'm yellowing it, but you're not supposed to put the numbers there. Leadership. Early in my pharmacy school experience, I participated in. Maybe you were the secretary, treasurer, master at arms, whatever it was. Then you grew to this leadership role, then that leadership role. What I'm most proud of is, and then you accomplished something and impacted people, and then you're going to show where that's going to matter. Okay. So I'm comfortable leading. I'm comfortable working with, maybe you worked and you were in, the pharmacist left and you had 5 technicians that were asking you questions, whatever it is. But you showed leadership and you can help them. Maybe in your staffing requirement, you'll need to do that. Okay. Presenting at the ASHP national meeting, so many people have in that first sentence, name drop this, name drop that, I met you at ASHP. And they're going to be like, man, I might have met you, but that was a whirlwind. I don't know who you are. But what they will be impressed by is presenting a poster at a national meeting. And it was the culmination of a year-long research project. But talk about the struggles where, like I did Vote and Vax for a residency project where I wanted to see if somebody was at the voting site versus across the street in an independent pharmacy, which one would, have more impact. And we found that it was 500% more likely you'd get a flu shot if you were at the voting site than if you were at the independent pharmacy. And so that was something that was meaningful, that you're like, okay, well, we need to set up across the street if we want to have a successful immunization. Or more broadly, you could say we need to set up where the people are rather than having them come to us. Okay, so flu clinics, it just kind of accents that, as pharmacists, we need to get out of the pharmacy, kind of that Indiana Jones reference. If you want to be a good archaeologist, you got to get out of the library. So the year-long research project, you found that you had to change this approach, but you feel confident, and what you're telling them is that you can do a residency project and you're not going to need to know handholding, and maybe you'll even get that $1,000 stipend. Like I got the stipend when I was in my residency project, and I got it because I wrote a clear, articulate abstract, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm working with the Wood Foundation, and I have these goals, and it came out very well. So again, number 4 matches number 4. Number 5, and teaching. Again, you're picking 2 or 3 out of these, but in teaching, I began tutoring one-on-one. Maybe you tutored for no money. Maybe you just tutored your roommate or your friend. But I enjoyed that. Then I took on this responsibility and then more responsibility. And then at your site, I know that there's going to be precepting students. So I've been doing something like that before. I'm not going to require much work to help. Okay. Finally is the call to action. Okay. So what you do is, in some ways, you rehash your thesis. My clinical, service, leadership, research, and teaching experiences. Don't put all 5. Help me build a groundwork for the work to come next year. You're not saying at your site, you're just saying to come next year. I went back and forth on this, but I think you should put, I hope to continue this work at the Potomac River Hospital Center. Let's be consistent. Hospital Center. PGY1 Pharmacy Residency Program. Capital, because it's a proper noun, and that we might continue this conversation in a face-to-face interview. This is kind of touchy. I know that a lot of you are like, ooh, do I really ask them? Like, hey, I want to meet face-to-face. What you're doing is you're just saying, hey, this is what I'm asking for. I'm not asking to be accepted to your program. I'm just asking that we can keep talking and that I can talk to you and you can talk to me, and hopefully it's a good fit. I very much welcome any questions and certainly appreciate your time. Make sure to thank them, because if they got this far, that is awesome sauce. You have really written a great letter in reviewing my candidacy. Okay. Sincerely, Tony Guerra, PharmD candidate 2019, Potomac River College of Pharmacy. Again, a fictional college of pharmacy. So I'll put this on memorizingpharmacology.com. You can find it under, let's go to something that is not, let me find, the website so I can show you. And you're going to click on more and then residency help. Right now there's residency recommendation help. What I'll do is I'll just put this document here as a template to help you, or maybe I'll actually create a second page to help you with this. All right, well, anyway, I hope this was helpful. Again, it's really all about telling your story. And you're going to tell those 2 or 3 stories that are unique to you. And it's what you care about, and it should be the same thing that they care about. And again, I can't emphasize enough, it's about match. How well do you fit? And you need to articulate how well you fit and what you're going to do for them. So I wish you the best of luck. I really do want you to succeed. I'm sorry that those templates are out there. I'm sorry that those templates are leading you in the wrong direction, that they're continuing to emphasize that it's about you and what you want to get out of it, rather than what is more of a combined, hey, you've got these resources, I've got these abilities, I really think we would be great together. So hope this was helpful, and again, always email me if you've got questions.